Hi, you're listening to Martin, and this is another video in which I'm looking at getting started with OpenInsight 10. And today we're going to be looking at building the system code form. So we're pretty much done with exploring the tool set and taking things slowly. I'm going to start speeding things up now and actually work on complete windows and putting this application together. Now, before I go too much further, I want to just touch on two things. One, I hope I don't get any pop-ups coming up. GDPR was supposed to stop all the spam in Europe. Well, it's not worked because somebody is flooding the internet with invoices and requests for payment today, and I've probably had about 10 or 20 of them through so far. So if we do get any more pop-ups coming up on my screen, I apologize. Secondly, I just want to make sure that you caught up with the menu after the last video. So for instance, on the file menu, I've dropped on a graphic because I like graphics on the file menu. On edit, I put the code on cut, copy and paste, and I've got graphics against each of those items. View, I didn't touch. QBF, I just dropped the graphics on. Window, I dropped the graphics on and removed the line, the icons. I didn't need that one. And help, I just removed quick help and again put the graphic in. So hopefully you've done the same, so we're all in line. If we haven't, then you need to go back and do that, or drop me an email if you're getting stuck. Right, so we can save and close out of that form, and today we're going to create a new form. So we can either go new and then locate forms and do it that way, or alternatively off the file menu you can just go new and form, because that's one of the options. It gets you to the same place. So today we want a data bound form. We've already created our table. That was the MP system codes table, and that's the one that we're going to grab our controls from. So we need to pick our table, MP system codes, and that gives us 3 dictionary items that we can choose from. And we only actually want 2 of these. We want code type and code. The reason we're not going to pick up description in this instance is we haven't got associated multi-value groups set yet. And I'm going to want to have the code and the description in an edit table, so we'll add description later. So if we add those 2 columns, then OpenInsight guesses for us on the type of control it thinks we want. And normally for a code type, which is just a straightforward varchar, I think, it's said it will produce an edit line for us, which would normally be fine. But in this instance, I actually want to change that to a combo box. So OpenInsight guesses for you, but you've still got the ability to overwrite that. Obviously the code is chosen edit table because that dictionary item is set as a multi-value piece of data, so it's picked up edit table. We don't need to create the default menu because we're going to run the functionality from the MDI frame, and I don't really need OK and cancel buttons because again we'll do that from the MDI frame. So if we click OK, OpenInsight will go away and very quickly render our form for us. Now, okay, it wasn't overly pretty, so we need to do a little bit of work to it. But we have got our form. Okay, so what we will do now is just start to tidy this up a little bit, and I'm going to go at a fairly rapid pace so that you can pause if you want to keep up. We should be going over much of what we've done previously, with the exception of one thing. Right, so the first thing we'll do is we're going to change the text, and we're going to change this to space system codes, and I'm relatively okay at the moment with the sizing of that screen. I think we're okay with that. We'll come down and we'll have the initial position. Actually, I'll leave that as design because it's going to be showing up in the MDI frame, so that's absolutely fine. The back color, I'm going to change the back color to be, what should we have? We'll have light steel blue to white, and we'll have that as a vertical line. Okay, that looks a bit funny in design mode, but when we actually run it, it will look a lot better than that. We should be okay with the rest of the things, I think, on here. The show effect and hide effect doesn't work on MDI children, so we don't need to worry about those. One of the things I do want to do though is I want to change the icon in here. Now I haven't got an icon. In fact, the only one I've got is ICO Hospital, but these are system codes. So let's just pop out to popped on a different screen. We'll go to my USB drive, into images, and we'll grab an icon. I'm just trying to think what icon we'll grab. It's going to plane. Gears. Yeah, that will do. We'll grab that one. It doesn't really matter. I mean, this is a demo at the moment. Normally, you would probably think a little bit more carefully about the graphics that you're using. And we do Control V. We'll change that to 16 underscore because it's a 16 by 16 graphic. Into here, new image components. Now this time I want it to be an icon image rather than a PNG. It would help if I grab the right file. Let's just go back to USB drive, images, icon experience. I want the icon, and again we'll have gears. We will copy and we'll put that into where we open insight is. Now I don't want it in buttons, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this one icons, and we'll drop that in there. Because the icons are all the same size, I don't normally worry about putting the 16 or whatever in front of them. So now if we go into here, images, icons, we'll grab the gears and we'll do a file, save, and this is going to be mp underscore ICO underscore. And the other thing I'm going to do, if we just close out of here, we will new image components PNG. Because I've dropped that file into Open Insight, I'm just going to set that one up so I've got that for later on. So we just save. mp underscore png underscore. So okay, that one. So although we're not going to use that at this precise moment in time, it's in the system. So if we come down to icon now and we select gears, then that gives us our icon up in the title area at the top here. Right, the label's not very great, so I'm going to change this from ID to code type. It could be code type, code category, you know, whatever you want really. And we'll just drag these around so that we've got the label nice. Now I like to have my text alignment to be centered left, and the back color, we'll set that to transparent, so we just get the color of the form come through. Just get that size to wherever you want it. Now trying to align the combo box to that can sometimes be a little bit difficult, so you can either set the background color to something else and then change it back, or we could just set the border accordingly for the moment, and then we can move our control into place. Now one of the things with combo boxes, a lot of them you can change the heights, but with a combo box you can't. It's actually set to, I think it's 20 pixels high, whereas I'm set to 24. So we now need to make a decision. Do we set all of our controls to 24? Sorry, to 20. So I'm going to change the height of 20 to this to match. Or do we stick with the 24 and then just have the combo box slightly moved? Now, obviously we're only moving it in 4 pixel increments when we're dragging around, but if you use your arrow keys you can actually down or raise it, lower it, or put it to the side 1 pixel at a time. So you have got quite a lot of control over this. Right, we're going to have some text in here, so we'll just make this a little bit wider. We will move the edit table up and we'll drag that to the same width, and we'll just drag it down a bit deeper. We'll resize the table, sorry, the form. So I like to normally have the same sort of border all the way around. Now I normally do 2 boxes in for each of these, so let's just put that back to where I want it. That would be fine. So we can get rid of our border now. So just changing the width to 0 will then get rid of all of the checkboxes for us, and then we're good. The combo box, we want people to be able to put some text into there, so we'll change that to a drop down style rather than the one where you can only make a choice. And then if we shift and click to select both of these entities and we right mouse click, then we can align right, which then means that these are nicely aligned. And then I can just bring the window over slightly, so these 2 pixels, and again we could be using the properties if we want to. Okay, so with regards to the edit table, we've just got code in there at the moment, and we want to add another column in there. So if we go up to columns and open up the column designer, then what we can do is insert or append. We actually want to append, and the column name is going to be description, so we'll OK that, and our binding is going to be to description, and we will set the description, because that's going to be the long one, to be the auto size. So that means it's then going to fill the width of the edit table, regardless of the width and everything else that we've got in there. The text alignment is top left, and again I like to be center left, so we're going to change that on both. So just make sure if you do one you do the other, otherwise it's going to look a bit strange. And we can change our column headings if we want to, so at the moment I think I'm okay with code and description, and if we click OK, we hit a bug, which I know Revelation's working on that at the moment. In the version that I've got, there is a bug, and hopefully that will be fixed fairly soon, but we can just ignore that, I believe, for the moment. If we go back into here, then we've still got our association and everything else, so hopefully this will be okay. Just ignore that bug for the moment. Okay, now one of the other things that I like to do with my edit tables is just to look at the appearance, and what I want to do in here is to set the row stripe to true. I'm going to have my scroll bars vertical and on all of the time. You don't need to, it's just a preferential thing that I tend to do. We'll show the headers and we'll show the numbers. I'm happy with all of that. Anything else that we want to do in here? Okay, I'm still getting my head around where all of these bits and pieces are, these properties. And there should be a column header sorting mode, that's disabled, so we'll enable that with a single click. And we don't need to select the column, so that means on a single click it will now put them all in order. And the other thing that I want to do, probably in appearance, is to set the row height. I'm going to set that to be 24, and the column header height I'm going to set that to 22, so it just makes it a little bit bigger. Okay, so if we now test run that form, we'll need to give it a name. So it's going to be mp_system_codes. So okay that. Now we can add in a code here. So this could be people titles. And in fact, because it's a code, I think that what we'll do is we'll make that so that it is uppercase only. So text case, we'll change that to uppercase, because what we don't want to do is have this is basically going to be our key, and what we don't want to do is we don't want somebody to put people titles in there in lowercase, uppercase and mixed case. We want to force it. So if we now test run that again and we do people titles, and we tab off, and we'll have 1, 2, actually no, with 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you can have whatever you want in here. I'm just going to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can have Mr., Mrs., Master, Ms., Miss, Professor. Okay, now we don't have any way of saving that record. So if we just close out of there, Open Inside is going to prompt us because it automatically puts a save warning when we add this data in, so we can go yes. And then if we test run that again now, when we do the drop down, we don't actually get anything showing. So if we come out of here, and for the combo box, we need to set the list property. So in here we have the option to go list or autofill assist. I'm going to go autofill assist. The table name is going to be MP system code. You see now why I use this naming convention. It makes life a lot easier. And the record ID is going to be we don't need to have that. So the field name is going to be code type. We could have a program if we wanted, and I'm going to sort it ascending left, and it builds this string for us. So if we then click OK, and we now test run the form, now we get our people titles, and we've selected it, but we need to tab off to actually get those to appear. So what we could do if you wanted is go into the events, and on the changed event probably we go into the quick event, and we will read the row. I think that's the one I probably want. So we'll save and close, then we'll test run. Remember, I'm not a professional, so I tend to go a little bit slowly. So now as you select that one, you automatically get the record appear. So that's our system codes, and we'll need to populate this a bit more as we go through the system. But if we now go back to our MDI main window, and we need a button here to call that. So we will go back to the properties. We'll change this to btn underscore system codes. The text here will be system codes, and the glyph, and this is one of the reasons why I chose that a moment ago. If we put this back to PNG, we'll pick the gears again, and we will have that center left. We just need to make this a little bit wider. And if we go into events, And we've got a quick event in there because remember I was calling the test window. So what I can now do is go in here and say system underscore codes, and we will save and close. We will test run, and now I can't type in now. I'll change that in a moment. Now we get our form, and if we come down and we add another code, and this one will be doctor, and we hit save, that now saves that record for us. So we've now got our MDI frame buttons controlling our MDI children. So that's the system codes window done, I think. We'll go on and start the more complicated and more involved patient entry window next. So I'll see you on the next lesson. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.